Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Lunch and Learn today. My name is Josiah Ilgenfritz, and I'll be your host today. I am the Senior Solution Architect for our professional services team. I do a lot of work working with customers to help take a look at what they want us to build and figure out how we're going to build that thing in Decisions. So let's open up the phone lines and let me know what questions you've got today. All right, looks like our first question is in. How do you find and troubleshoot if you have performance issues in your flows? Um, this is a pretty broad topic. There's a lot of different things that you can do to troubleshoot your flows to see if you have performance issues in them. But one of the tools that we have in Decisions that can be really helpful is the profiler. The profiler allows you to take a look and see what is happening timing-wise in your flows as you are running them. To do that, we can go to the settings, and let me pull up a Decisions instance here, and I can show you how to get to the profiler. All right, you should now be able to see a Decisions instance here. You will go to System and then to Administration, and then to System Tools, and then to Profiler. And here you can get a list of all of the things that are currently running in the system, how many times they're running, and then the time, both with children and without children. And now what that means is if there's sub things happening here, what time is taken up overall and what time is taken up by just this particular activity. For example, here, I can see I've got an entry here for fetching from folder that without children took 3 milliseconds, with children, it took 66 milliseconds. And if I expand that, I can see all of the things that happened as part of that particular action to see how long that took. So let's say we want to see an example of this. Let me go ahead and build a flow real quick that will allow us to see some slowness in a process. All right, so I'm going to create a very simple flow here. Should give it a better name than flow 1. And in this flow, I'm going to build a very bad flow. I want to. I'm just going to have this flow loop for 100 iterations, and I'm going to tell it to delay the next step. All I'm going to do is make this flow. It's going to run. It's going to be slow. It's not going to really do anything. And I just want this to delay for 1 second. All right, so I've got my flow here. I'm going to duplicate my tab, go back to the profiler. And if you want to kind of clear this out and see a new session, I'm going to start a new session here. It's going to refresh the data that I've got available, so I don't have a lot of things that I have to try to sort through. I'm going to run my flow, and it's going to start running. It's going to take a little while because it's got to loop 100 times and for 1 second. And there we can see the flow started. Give it a little bit, we'll see a flow completed pop up there. But if I come back over here to the profiler, and I'm going to try to find my flow in here. And underneath this service call boundary here, I've got a start flow via run flow action. And under there, I can see my very slow flow. Now, I think my delay step is maybe causing some problems. It doesn't seem to like it. I'll wait till my flow finishes up here. But we can see the time that's being taken by various things in here. Here's the thread job service. With children, it's taking 73 milliseconds. The service itself isn't taking any time. It's got 18 things that are running inside of it. And so we can dig down into that data and troubleshoot if we've got flows that are taking a long time to run. Now, a note about the profiler, it is a rolling 20-minute window of historic data. So it's not meant to capture long-term. If you've got a flow that takes 3 hours to run, the profiler isn't going to keep all 3 hours of that data for you. It's just the last 20 minutes, or if you've started a new profile session, since you started it, there we go. Our flow has ended. And now if we look and see the time here, we can see the flow, the service call boundary. If we were just looking at this from the top level, we immediately see something here that's taken a long time. We can expand that, come in here and dig down. And there's our, under the start flow via run flow action, there's the thing that took a long time. And we can see that it's our very slow flow. And we can dig into it all the way down to see the thing that's taking a long time here is our delay next step, which is taking most of the time of this flow running. And there you can see the difference between the with children and without children on those two values. All right. The next question that I've got here, we have a scenario like there is a date field, which a validation rule. The date selection will be 8 weeks away from the current date. Weekends and fixed holidays. If you've got dates and you want to do some calculations around business days, there's a couple things that you're going to need to do. The steps that you're going to want to use are the calculating business dates. The other thing that you'll need to take into account are holidays. You can actually define holidays for a system that you want to use in your settings in the system. They'll be under system and then designers. Now, I got to remember where these are. One moment. System. System data. So they will be in the system section, then system data, and then locations. And in here, you'll see there's a default location. You can add additional locations if you want. In the default location, you can add holidays in here so that you can define what days are holidays, that when a date and time is calculated, it will keep those out if you're using the business time. You can also, in the location itself, you can define what are the business days. So by default, it's going to exclude holidays. And you can define what the work hours are for that location so that when we're calculating that time, we know what times count as time that should be worked and what time count as times that should not be worked. So between the location setting and any holidays that you need to add to that location, you can then, in a flow, use some of the steps that will allow you to calculate the business days. And if you go into the toolbox, they will be under data and then dates. We've got a couple in here. We've got compute business time for location. And I believe there's maybe some. There's a couple other in here around that, but compute business time, it will allow you to calculate this. And there's no there. This validation needs to be done in decision 6. The business steps, the locations, and the holidays do exist in decisions version 6. So all of that can be done in decisions version 6. All right, what other questions do we have today? All right, here's another question. Is there a way that I can configure decisions that I can work employees' tasks while they are out on vacation? We do currently have in decisions a solution for this that is impersonation for accounts. To set that up, I'm going to come back in here to my decisions. And I'm going to go back to the system and I'm going to go to my accounts. And in here, I'm going to go ahead and create a new account so that I can do something with impersonation here. So I'll create that account. Now, on this account, I am going to set some permissions for impersonation, and it is going to be down here in the account settings under impersonation information, allowed impersonations. I'm going to say I want to allow this account to be impersonated from josiah@decisions.com. That's mine. Now I can either set this to never expire, or I can give this a start and end date for when I want this to happen. So I could say never expire. So that means that at any point, my josiah@decisions.com can impersonate my Josiah plus test account. If I'm saying Josiah plus test is going out on vacation next week, I'm going to set it up so that I can impersonate that account during that time. I can do that. I'm going to, for now, set this to never expire. And now, in here, I can, now that I have that set up, this account, I can go to account impersonation. Hang on, this is, I don't want to add another one. I want to switch. I'm going to say log in as, and I'm going to say impersonate. And now I'm impersonating that new account. Now you'll notice my view switched immediately to only show the portal, because this user doesn't actually have access to the studio, which means that now I'm logged in essentially as if I were Josiah plus test. So this does give you a way to get to and assign things to another, or to work things as another user. Now a caveat here, the impersonation treats it as if you were that user when you log into the portal. So as far as decisions is concerned, I have access now to everything that Josiah plus test has access to. So if Josiah plus test has access to more things than just the assignments that I want Josiah@decisions.com to work, I need to keep that in mind, because once that account is being impersonated, I can see anything that the user I'm impersonating can see. So just something to keep in mind if you do need to go that route, to allow other users to work tasks while someone is out on vacation. I'm going to go ahead and stop impersonating there and go back into the studio. All right, here's another question. What happens if I deleted a flow that I did not mean to delete? Is there any way to get that back? There is a way to get that back. Decisions does have a way, when you delete a flow, those things are not hard deleted. They are simply flagged as deleted, which means that they can be recovered. So let's go back to our Lunch and Learn folder here. And I will say, let's go ahead and delete this very slow flow that we've got. I'm going to delete that. Now that flow is deleted, and I say, oh, I actually did need that. Is there any way to get it back? To do that, I'm going to come up here. I'm going to go to the folder view. And in the folder view, I'm going to click on the little gear icon right here. And by change report, I'm going to say change. And I'm going to say all folder items with deleted. I'm going to pick that item. And here I can see things that are not deleted. And here I can see things that are deleted. And I'm going to right click on that. And I'm going to say undelete flow. And yes, I do want to undelete it. And now, if I go back to my list view, I have that flow has come back again. And now I can work on it once more. All right, I've got another question here. If I want passwords to be more complex than just the default, how do I set that up? To do that, we're going to come back here to the settings, and we're going to go to under system, and then I'm going to go to settings. And then here, I'm going to go to the portal settings, and I'm going to edit. And you'll actually see, like, as soon as I pop that up here, I'm getting a warning that says, hey, the way that you have this set up is not very secure. We recommend that you update that, that setting. Now, to do that, I'm going to search for password, and here I've got password settings. So I can set the minimum number of characters required. I can say any of these things then, if upper or lower case is required, if symbols are required, numbers, if accounts should expire, if accounts should get locked out after a certain number of tries, if the last 4 passwords should all have to be different, and if I should force log someone out of all of the sessions if they change their password. So if you're worried about someone having a bad user or a malicious actor having a password and needing to reset that password and force all sessions of that logged that are currently logged in to log out and have to re-authenticate, there's a setting for that as well. All right. Any other questions today? All right. It doesn't look like we've got any more questions coming in today. So I thank you all for joining our Lunch and Learn today. And we will be back again tomorrow.
Thanks so much, Josiah. I appreciate you.
Happy to help.
Thanks. Enjoy the rest of your day.
So that will like